And when some of those bases are denied to you during a conflict that we're involved in, then you question whether that value is still there. So that's going to have to be discussed. There's no doubt about it.
Reporters thought that they were getting the standard press conference, but Rubio went candid mode from second one. Listen, I don't even want to talk to you guys. That was his opening line before dropping a bombshell about Iran's plan B.
I didn't even want to talk to you guys. They told me you have to talk to the press. Like, all right, let's do it.
With troop movements changing and allies acting for clarity, what was your message today?
Well, no, guys, first of all, the United States has global commitments for our military. So we are constantly reevaluating where we're positioning forces. And since the first day of this administration, the Department of War has been working on that, and that's known to our allies. I think, what's happening now is that any decision that's announced or made is viewed through the broader context of some of the, the frictions that we've had in recent months. But at the end of the day, I think it's well understood in the alliance that the United States troop presence in Europe is going to be adjusted. That work was already ongoing, and it's been done in coordination with our allies. I'm not saying they're going to be thrilled about it, but they certainly are aware of it. We have obligations in the Indo-Pacific, we have obligations in the Middle East, we have obligations in the Western Hemisphere. So this has been an ongoing process. Shouldn't be a surprise to anybody.
Mr. Secretary,
it will be.
Did you discuss the NATO force model today?
It didn't come up in directly in our. But again, it ties back to the same conversation, and that is, in a moment of conflict, what can everybody commit? And that decision, I think, there's going to be some announcements on it later today in regards, if it hasn't come out already, in the next few days, and it'll be a collective product. I mean, they've been working it through the internal systems of NATO in terms of the force postures of what we would be able to supply along with others. Every country has to constantly reevaluate what their needs are, what their commitments are around the world, and how to properly structure that.
Mr. Secretary, the Iranian.
What?
Do you think it's a case for the U.S. to reduce its contributions to the force?
Well, I'll let the folks in the Department of War and over at NATO make those announcements. But this is not a decision that was made on the back of a napkin. I mean, this has been an ongoing process involving other countries as well, and the contributions they can make. It's not just our force posture, it's what other countries can contribute as well to come up with something that works for NATO and that's realistic and that allows us to force posture, for example, in a true front conflict. So, but again, this is all technical work that's being done by military people. These are not political decisions.
Us stepping back from NATO is not a brand new thing for us here. This has been something that I've been hearing about for many, many years, pretty much due to the fact that there are countries that are paying more into NATO than other countries are here. All right. While at the same time having the ability to deny us access to their bases here, while not even meeting the percentage of GDP requirements here. Europe is going to have to start standing on their own a little bit here. NATO, in fact, knows this. I think they smell it coming, if that makes any sense here. This is not brand new information for them. They 100% knew it was coming here.
Are you from Sweden?
Yes.
Okay, you have a great country. This is a great country. This is a beautiful place. Wow. Thank you. I wish you were here longer. And they keep apologizing to me for the weather. There's nothing wrong with this weather. Miami's 95 degrees with mosquitoes and humidity this time of year. That's all right.
We could swap.
Yeah, but your sunrises are way too early. It's like 3:45 and the sun is up. What's wrong with these people? It's not your fault. Go ahead.
Apart from the weather, what are you going to report back to President Trump from your impressions of the Helsingborg meeting? And also, have you got anything reassuring to say about the support for Ukraine that Sweden fear might be fading?
Well, I mean, Ukraine's getting more support than they ever have through the Pearl program that the United States continues to be involved in. There's been no changes made to that program. Look, my job here today was to come and set the stage for what will hopefully be a successful leaders meeting in Ankara in about 6 weeks. I think we all know what the situation here is. Number one is, like always, and this is not new. I mean, if you go back 30 years, there's never been a time in which there hasn't been a debate in American politics about what our presence and our contribution to NATO should be. And that is always driven by what is the value of NATO to the United States. I understand NATO is valuable to Europe, and it should be. It also has to be valuable to the United States. So we always have to make that argument in every administration, in every era. And that's what we're in the process of doing now, is explaining, this is the value of NATO to the United States. Related to that is what our force posture is within that alliance, what our contributions are. So obviously, one of the things that I've always used, and I've long been an advocate for NATO in my time in the Senate, and one of the arguments I always made was that these bases in the region provided us logistical options that we wouldn't otherwise have. And when some of those bases are denied to you during a conflict that we're involved in, then you question whether that value is still there. So that's going to have to be discussed. There's no doubt about it. I think there's also going to have to be some focus on how a year after the meeting at The Hague, how much progress has been made in terms of the increased contributions. There are some countries that have doubled their defense spending over the
Right.
last few years. There are others that are still lagging. In the end,
Spain.
the goal is to have a NATO that is strong, and the stronger our NATO allies are, the stronger NATO is going to be.
Absolutely.
So
Have you made progress today, sir, with the allies on getting the Strait of Hormuz fully back up and running? And have
no, I would be
anybody-
pretty ambitious to be able to open the straits at this meeting here today. But I can tell you that what I hope there is, this is what I hope for, and this is the point I made, is we all would love to see an agreement with Iran in which the straits are open and they abandon their nuclear ambitions and so forth, their nuclear weapons ambitions. That's what we would all hope for, and that's what we're going to continue to work on, and that's what work is ongoing even as I speak to you now in that regard. But we also have to have a plan B. And plan B is, what if Iran refuses to open the straits? What if Iran decides we refuse to open the straits, we're going to own the straits, and we're going to charge tolls for it? Okay, at that point, something has to be done about it. And I would argue that there are countries represented here today that are more deeply impacted by this than even the United States is.
And they're
So
doing
all
nothing.
I'm saying, and I've said, and I think this has been reiterated by others, there are other countries that agree with me on this, is that we have to start thinking about what do we do if a few weeks from now Iran decides we don't care, we're going to keep the straits closed, we're going to sink any ship that doesn't listen to us or doesn't pay us. Then someone's going to have to do something about it. Okay, they're not just going to voluntarily reopen the straits in that scenario. So we have to start thinking about it. I raised that point today. I got a lot of nods. I got a lot of people that came up to me afterwards and acknowledged it. But we don't have an announcement for you today in terms of something that's happening. I know there's a plan
Publicly.
in place for what to do if the shooting stops. It's what the French-UK initiative talks about when the conditions are set. Well, what they mean by when the conditions are set is when no one is shooting. And but we have to have a plan B for if someone is shooting. You know, how do you reopen the straits? And so I made that point today. I don't know if that would be a NATO mission necessarily, but it would certainly be NATO countries.
Like, it would be absolutely amazing if NATO absolutely did stand up for themselves just a little bit better here, okay? Like, definitely hold people accountable, meaning the leaders of these countries that are not kind of paying money. Maybe they themselves need to, I don't know, bro, not be protected any longer here. But in our context here, how can you say the state of Mississippi or Alabama should not be protected because they're not giving enough tax dollars? That's, I think, the argument at the end of the day, right? But there are definitely some places in these NATO countries that are kind of within NATO that should no longer be in NATO here. Like, I knew 100% when they decided to basically start telling the United States of America, listen, we want your protection. We love the idea that the United States of America's might basically is protecting us and keeping the big bad guys out of our countries, right? But we're not going to allow you to utilize our bases. Like, we're not going to do this. We can't do this. This is wrong. Okay, well, if that's the case, what comes next is the United States of America basically withdrawing themselves from NATO. That's the energy that this gives here, right? Because I knew that this was going to happen here. Like, when I saw this here, I was like, oh no, bro. And understand, guys, I made a video specifically calling someone in Spain, right? Kind of about what was going on.
For example, most of the people that I've spoken to, they would tend to be more Switzerland-wise, neutral, don't get into anything. The bases, the military bases that are in Spain for America, just leave them there. Don't kick nobody out, don't let anybody in type thing. Just, it is what it is, and let's move on with this.
Just to kind of see what was actually happening kind of on the ground, if that makes any sense. And yeah, guys, there are some people who are definitely happy that this is happening because these are the people who are generally anti the United States of America anyway here, guys, right? Understand also, guys, I live half the year in the south of Spain, so I see what happens. I know how the culture kind of moves there. And yeah, it is, if you think that our left is left, you haven't seen anything. Okay, I need you guys to be fully aware that that is a thing that exists, and it exists in Spain. Okay, so when they see Trump, right, they're just like, oh no, this man is the worst man on the planet, right? The United States of America is like the worst place on the planet here, not realizing that that their freedoms are basically backed with our might, ignoring it completely. There are multiple NATO states that are in fact being protected by us while spitting on us. So, guys, maybe it's time for us to kind of reevaluate how things are going here. And I've definitely been saying this for a while now. All right. And specifically the places that have no interest in actually kind of building up their military, meaning spending a specific percentage of their GDP on their own personal military might. Okay. A stronger NATO, in fact, is a stronger NATO. Well, I guess that mean, a stronger NATO, but I guess what I'm trying to say here is this is not a brand new thing here, guys. We have been withdrawing for a while now because of this here. And obviously, if we are teetering on asking ourselves, is it worth staying in NATO in 2026, knowing that they are denying us access to their bases? That was probably the worst thing you guys could have done, right? So maybe you guys need to get on the phone with Pedro Sanchez, specifically the leader of Spain here. Maybe you need to get on the phone with him and say, hey, bro, listen, maybe you shouldn't do any more press conferences, guys, because you are making it look, you are going to get America to leave NATO, and then what's left of NATO, bro? Pacifists? Got it. Listen, guys, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. If you guys are new here, please like and subscribe. But in the meantime, guys, I'll go ahead and catch you guys later.